Hello, Friendship Alliance Church. I want to take this time to share with you our church's future, to talk about our church's future. Specifically, I want to talk about our church's plan for reopening. I've received a lot of feedback from people in the community and from people in the church inquiring as to when we are going to reopen, and we want to be upfront and direct with you. First, let me say this. There will be differences in the how and the when and the safety measures that we take upon reopening. Regardless of the how and the when we gather together under the same roof again, what truly matters most is who we are worshiping together. The who is greater than the how and the when. What this time has taught me, and what this time hopefully has taught you, is that the gospel cannot be contained. This church has risen to the occasion. I have seen this body of believers be the church. I have seen this church become more than a building. I've seen the church help the needy and the elderly. I've seen the church explore new methods to connect and do fellowship together. I've seen the church break bread together through online communion. We have stayed community focused by giving love and appreciation to over 120 teachers, faculty, staff, and bus drivers of the Methow Valley schools. I've seen your generosity and continued giving has made the gospel go forward and spreading the gospel to an unreached people group through our partnership with our missionaries. We are more than a building. We are developing an evolving plan. As restrictions and social distancing guidelines change, so will our approach. All of us desire to worship together under the same roof. We all desire that. I long for that. You long for that. However, we must consider how to do so in safe ways that consider our most vulnerable members and do so that does not fuel the spread of COVID-19. We must also consider how opening prematurely or unprepared could negatively affect our ability to witness to our community. We want to see people raised to life in Christ. Our hope and goal is that our light shines so that before our community, so that they may see our good deeds and glorify our Father in heaven. Obviously, this issue has been politicized, like every other issue in the world today. I said this in January, and I'm going to say it once again. Our platform and how we are known at Friendship Alliance Church is Jesus and only Jesus. We will not be defined, we will not be entangled by partisan politics. When Jesus' enemies were trying to get him entangled in political affairs, specifically in paying taxes, Jesus tells them, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give to God what belongs to God. Jesus, when given the opportunity, did not promote rebellion against the Romans, despite their brutality and godlessness. Let me speak next of some realities. The reality is we do not have an opening date yet. We all want a date. I want a date. You want a date. We all want to know that date, but we do not have it yet. When we have a date, you will certainly know. We are going to shout it. We are going to celebrate it. In the meantime, where perseverance is being required of so many, we at the church are going to let perseverance finish its work, as it tells us in the book of James. Our plan and preparation is with longevity in mind. The president of our denomination, John Stumbo, has encouraged churches that re-entry must not be fast-forwarded, that of getting rushed in this season. It requires unique insight because we are not necessarily going back to the same setting. We want to approach reopening as a marathon and not a sprint. We want to avoid a situation where we reopen the church and then immediately close the church back up again. We are going to do everything in our control to make that happen. But as we all know, there are certain things that are out of our control. No place is foolproof from disease, from violence, from natural disasters. Anytime you enter a car, you assume risk. Anytime you go to the grocery store, you assume risk. The church is no different. And the reality with our church is that it is a high-risk setting for any kind of illness to spread. We have a small building, which makes proper distancing difficult. Proper airflow can be challenging in our church building. We have at-risk members with vulnerable immune systems. We will embrace those realities head on and tackle them faithfully and responsibly. Next, let me share with you some expectations and what you can expect. I don't want you to come in with a false expectation that everything is going to be business as usual for the church. It is not. Bottom line, there will be changes. Expect changes. Chairs will be reorganized to allow social distancing. If masks are still encouraged by health officials, we are going to encourage masks. They will be made available. They will not be required. There are so many stigmas right now about masks. We will not frown upon those who wear or do not wear masks. In order to remove that stigma, I'm just going to tell you up front, I will be wearing a mask up until the time I take the pulpit. If they're still recommending it, I will do it. It is not a sign of weakness or a lack of faith to wear or to not wear a mask. We will not cast judgment in either direction. Let us be the church that rises above the vitriol that you see in the news or on social media in regards to masks. One thing you can expect with 100% certainty, which is something that is very hard to do today. It's hard to guarantee anything with all the changes that are going on. One thing that I can guarantee you is that going forward, once we reopen the church, that there will be 2 services provided every Sunday. There will be an in-person service and an online service. I remember a couple years ago, I shared with the leadership team this audacious goal, like my big goal is to have 2 services. Well, my prayer was answered, but certainly not in the way that I thought it would. Until we have in-person services again, our online services will remain at 10 o'clock. You can watch those on Facebook, on YouTube, through our website. On our YouTube channel, we provide a live chat so you can interact during that time. Expect changes to fellowship, communion, prayer time. Basically, expect changes. Expect things to evolve as we navigate these uncharted waters. Once again, it goes back to who we worship must be more important than the how and the when we worship. If the how and the when become our focal point, it will lead to division and discouragement. Let us continue to fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. In closing, we will be a church that reopens faithfully, responsibly, and with much prayerful discernment. I am asking you, church, for your prayers, for your patience, for your perseverance as we live through this historic time. Church, now is the time to show that we are not desperately dependent on a building. Let us be desperately dependent on God's leading in our lives. Let us continue to be the church that is gospel-driven, Christ-centered, and community-focused. May God bless you, and may He continue to be glorified through you.